Hi, I'm Eliza. I'm going to do a step-by-step video of how to start this very simple brioche scarf. Now, I did a mini version so that as I walk through this stitch by stitch, you don't have to watch me knit every single stitch. It'll be a lot faster for you through the video. So I did 10 stitches instead of 40 for you. And I knit the first 2 rows already. So I did the first 2 rows of just knitting. This is going to be the first row of brioche knitting. Now the first thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to attach a marker to the front side of my knitting. I'm going to use one of the markers that you can just attach on just like a safety pin. If you wanted to use a safety pin, you could. If you wanted to tie just a piece of yarn to the front of your knitting, that's fine too. Just anything to let you know this is the front. That will save you some headache later on. It'll make it a lot less confusing. And I am using double pointed needles. That will be very important. Double pointed or circular are fine. I started out making the scarf on double pointed using an end cap. Mine looks like this. The hole just goes right there on the end to keep my stitches from falling off the end. I did end up switching to circulars with 40 stitches. It made it a lot easier, but you can do it either way. So for the first row, I'm going to continue in this color 1, my navy, and I'm going to knit 1, and I'm going to knit a second one. And then I'm going to bring my yarn forward, slip 1, and then I am going to knit the next stitch, and that yarn that I carried over is going to go across the stitch that I slipped. Bring the yarn forward, slip 1, knit the next one. And again, that yarn that I brought forward carries across the stitch that I slipped. I'm going to keep going, yarn forward, slip 1, knit, yarn forward, slip 1, and then knit that last stitch. Now, you're going to not turn your work. I'm going to let go of that color 1, and you're going to slide your stitches back to the beginning. This is why you need double pointeds. And now I'm going to start with color 2, which is my pretty light blue yarn, which I have right here. Now with this one, I'm going to start by knitting 1, start that here. Okay, now this is where things can start to get a little confusing, so I'm going to bring my yarn forward, I'm going to slip 1, I'm going to go wrap it around, yarn over, so that my yarn is in the front. Now I'm going to purl these 2 stitches. It is actually the stitch I slipped and the yarn over from the row before. I'm going to purl those 2 together. I'm going to slip a stitch. I'm going to do yarn over, and then I'm going to purl the next one, which is that slip stitch from the row before and the wrap together. I'm going to slip a stitch, yarn over, and I'm going to purl those next 2 together, the slipped stitch from the row before with that wrap. I'm going to slip a stitch, yarn over, I'm going to do that purl of the 2 together again, and then I'm going to knit that last stitch. There we go. Let's tug that stitch so it's a little snugger. There we go. Now I am going to turn my work this time so that I am looking at the back side. My stitch marker is on the other side. So I just did the first 2 rows, Now I'm going to use color 1 again, my navy. Sorry, my yarn is getting a little tangled up over here, so let me just untangle them for a sec. Okay, so now back with my navy. Now what I'm gonna do is actually repeat the row I just did, only with navy instead of the light blue. I'm going to knit 1. Now I am going to bring my yarn forward, slip 1, wrap my yarn around, purl the slip and the yarn over from the last row together. I am going to slip 1, yarn over, and purl those 2 together. Slip 1, yarn over, purl those 2 together. Slip 1, yarn over, purl those 2 together. And, whoops, got to the end. And I'm going to knit that last one. Now we don't turn our work. We slide ourselves back to the beginning. And we're going to use color 2. I'm going to use my light blue again. I'm going to knit that first stitch. And I'm going to knit these 2. And I'm going to do yarn forward, slip 1, and I'm going to knit those 2 together, bringing that yarn over, and I'm going to yarn forward, slip 1, knit those 2 together. Oops, take that yarn back. Yarn forward, slip 1, knit those 2 together, yarn forward, slip 1, and knit that last stitch. There we go. We just did our first 4 rows of brioche. You can already see that you've got your light blue knit stitches on this side, and you can see that you have your navy blue knit stitches on this side. And that's going to continue all the way through.